Introduction. What happened to America? One side is passionate and relentless. The other is complacent and non-confrontational. Our 50-50 nation is lopsided. Election results show us equally divided between the two parties. Several recent presidential elections, 2000, 2016, and 2020, were decided by razor-thin margins, where a few thousand votes in a handful of states would have changed the outcome. Currently, in the year 2024, the U.S. Senate is divided 51-49, and the GOP majority in the House of Representatives is about 1%. It thus appears that the electorate is split right down the middle. What is so mystifying is that such an evenly balanced nation could have wound up in a situation where a small but forceful minority is able to impose its preposterous mindset on nearly half the nation that is strongly opposed to its hit parade of positively zany ideas and policies. Over the past couple of decades or so, we seem to have abandoned nearly all the norms and customs that built our nation into a place that draws millions who want to share in the bounty of America. Our nation appears to be living in a crudely written comedy sketch or fairy tale. The famous fairy tale, The Emperor's New Clothes by Hans Christian Andersen, seems to capture the absurdity of the current situation. Wikipedia gives a brief summary of this fairy tale. There is an emperor who has an obsession with fancy new clothes and spends lavishly on them at the expense of state matters. One day, two con men visit the emperor's capital, posing as weavers. They offer to supply him with magnificent clothes that are invisible to those who are incompetent or stupid. The emperor hires them, and they set up looms and pretend to go to work. A succession of officials, starting with the emperor's wise and competent minister, and then ending with the emperor himself, visit them to check their progress. Each sees the looms are empty, but pretends otherwise to avoid being thought a fool. Finally, the weavers report that the emperor's suit is finished. They mime dressing him as he sets off in a procession before the whole city. The townsfolk uncomfortably go along with the pretense, not wanting to appear inept or stupid, until the child blurts out that the emperor is wearing nothing at all. The people then realize that everyone has been fooled. Though startled, the emperor continues the procession, walking more proudly than ever. The elites that run America are like the con men of this fairy tale. They are weaving a narrative that is so bizarre that everyone should be mocking them. But most of the public has been intimidated to just go along with the fantasy, just like most of the townsfolk in this fairy tale. In this book, I intend to act as the impertinent little boy who bellows out the truth. No, a boy cannot be a girl simply by saying he is. No, America is not a racist country dominated by white supremacy. No, the earth will not become uninhabitable unless we stop burning fossil fuels immediately. No, making the homeless more comfortable does not lead to clean streets. It leads to streets adorned with human excrement and drug needles. No, not punishing people for shoplifting will not lead to better cities, but will instead cause stores to shut down, creating urban food deserts. No, spending billions of dollars in Ukraine will not improve the life of a single American. No, swinging our border gates wide open will not enrich our country. It will impoverish it as millions fleece the generous American public. No, no, no. All the outrageous myths being thrust down our throats are just what they seem to be, sheer lunacy. When we strip away all the obfuscating euphemisms of the progressive con men, we clearly see just how bankrupt their narrative really is.